Hope you guys are having a good second day of quarantine since the nation has basically shut down. Um, yeah, it'll be very interesting. Hopefully they can get a good hand on everything. Alrighty. Well, as more people join, you can introduce yourself in the comments. Let us know where you're from. Let us know, I guess, maybe how you found me, anything that you want to share. But I'm just going to go ahead and get started and introduce myself. Like I said a few times, my name is Abby, and I started Humbly Lettered. I started my Instagram account on my 23rd birthday in October of 2018. So I figured now's the time. I didn't really want to wait any longer. I had been practicing my hand lettering for a while, and then I just decided, let's just do this. So I made my account just to basically have a place to put my art because I'd been making it for a couple years. And yeah, I figured let's just do it. So I made it, and it's really taken off. I mean, I don't have like consistent orders. I usually, maybe have like a couple every other week or something like that. Lots of people that I know will reach out if they want me to make something, but it's been really fun just to get to know how to use Etsy, get to know just different people that I've been able to connect with, etc. But I really started hand lettering when I was like a freshman or sophomore in college. I actually can't remember the exact year. And I wasn't really going through like an insanely rough time of life, but I just kind of started I don't know, kind of having a little bit more anxiety or just feeling a little bit more uncertain and uneasy about just different things. And so I started hand lettering just different Bible verses or lyrics from songs that really encouraged me, and I would just write them and make them look pretty. And from there on out, I just kept practicing. So what you'll see from me today is the result of a lot of years of practice. And so I don't want you guys to be discouraged that, if you put the pen to the paper and it doesn't really look like what mine looks like, or it looks different than what you're envisioning in your head, or just, is really challenging. Sometimes it takes a while to get a good hang of it. That's okay, and this is day one for some of you. Some of you may have practiced this, so, you could pick it up pretty fast. But be patient with yourself and understand that it does take a lot of practice. That being said, I have a brief outline that I'm following. I want to explain a little bit more about why I chose to do a virtual class. It's really interesting because I realized I was talking with a friend and I was like, oh, I'll have no idea to see what you guys are writing or if it's working out or if what I'm saying is making sense on your paper. So if at any point you guys have questions, feel free to just like comment them below, or if you want to request to join the live, I think that is probably an option. I think if you hit like the little face button, it should kind of notify me. If you want to show me your paper and be like, this is not working out, what am I doing? Or is this what it's supposed to look like? Or whatever, I'm okay with like allowing you to join the live, and then you can, go back to not being in it if you want to do that. So those are kind of two things that I wanted to preface this with. Second, I really wanted to do this class because with the coronavirus outbreak, I've heard of a lot of really cool stories of people like helping people out and doing different things like buying groceries for people, watching their kids. But some of those things aren't feasible for me just because I'm not financially able to do that for people, and I'll still be in class all day. So can't really babysit kids. But I figured why not give people a new hobby that they can try while they're at home. It's gonna get long, it's gonna get tough. You might not really understand why we have to quarantine, but I just wanted to explain that I'm just trying to do this to help people and give a little bit of hope in the midst of a lot of chaos and uncertainty. And who knows, maybe you could sell a few things after practicing and make a little bit of extra money if you're out of work right now. Anyways, so that's kind of my little spiel to introduce myself and why I'm doing this. Again, feel free to just ask any questions. I'm really an open book. I know some creatives are a little hesitant to share things. I don't really feel I need to. So that's just my personal preference. But let's go ahead and get started. If you want to know anything more about kind of my journey or my story, I'll probably share more near the end, but That's just a little bit about me. So I'm gonna flip the camera and get things adjusted. I think I have everything. If I need to leave or grab something, then I'll just leave you guys here. But I think that I'm all set. So here we go. Okay, there's my window. I'm using a little tripod that I got at an arcade. So it's not the best, but it works. Okay, so there's some of my just basic little guidelines that I told you guys. Feel free to ask questions in the comments. Feel free to just join the live video if you need some help with anything. Make mistakes. This takes a lot of practice, so I am not expecting it to turn out perfect from the get-go. And then let me know if like my camera gets off center or if I need to adjust the placement of it or if you can't see what I'm writing. And last of all, have fun. So I am left-handed, so you should be able to see most of what I'm going to write today. Wow, this is kind of strange because I can't tell if you guys have your papers ready, but I'm going to assume that you do. So the first thing that we're going to focus on is I want to clarify two different things. So there is something that's called an upstroke and a downstroke when you're talking about cursive or hand lettering, calligraphy. Hi, Erin Guthrie. Hello, everyone that has joined since I started. I haven't been able to see all of the names, but so an upstroke and a downstroke. So when I draw the letter L, we're going to focus on just basic cursive. When I draw the letter L, I bring the pen up and I bring the pen down, okay? So this would be the upstroke. This would be the downstroke because I have brought the pen downward. Let me know if you guys cannot see this or if I need to adjust it or if it's big enough, anything. Comment anything, I will see it. So whenever, the number one point that I tell people is whenever you bring the pen down, that's where you're gonna shade the letter. So there's three different ways you can do calligraphy. You can use a traditional calligraphy pen. I do not use calligraphy pens. I don't know how to do it. You can use a brush pen where when you do a downstroke, the pen thickens. So the tip of the pen's kind of soft. And then you can just use a normal writing utensil that doesn't have, an adjusted tip to it. So whenever you have a downstroke, you're gonna thicken that line. So as you can see where I wrote welcome to Humbly Lettered, all of my downstrokes are thick, okay? So that's gonna be point number one. That's the most important thing to follow. So I'm just gonna draw kind of a little outline. I'm gonna move my paper a little bit closer to you guys. So I apologize for washing all my hands. My hands are so dry and I've been trying to keep them moisturized, but it hasn't worked. So whenever you go to do a downstroke, I kind of make a little line that's in front of the other. You can go on the inside of the letter or on the outside. I went on the inside. And then I literally just color in between the lines. So I've created kind of a fake L, or a fake calligraphy L, okay? So that's going to be the first thing that we're going to focus on, an upstroke and a downstroke. So go ahead on your papers. Just write a couple of different L's, okay? You can vary the size. You can vary how big of a loop you make. You can make it different size. You can do a thin loop. Really, anything works, okay? So I probably won't be talking throughout this whole video as I just show you guys some things. I'll try to go pretty slow so that you can follow along at home. So for this, I just drew a line on the inside of the letter and then I shaded. For the L to the left, I'm actually going to make my line on the outside just because I want there to be enough space to still have the loop. You might be able to hear my roommate making dinner in the background. Just ignore that. Now for this one, I'm gonna make the line closer toward the inside, and you see how that now made that gap in the loop much smaller. So that's something that you can do to decide if you want to shade inside of the letter or on the outside of it. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up or wave or something if this is making sense, okay? Or send a question mark if you need some further explanation. Perfect. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Alrighty, so again, whenever your pen comes up, you're not going to make that part thick. Whenever you bring the pen down, that's where you're going to shade the letter. So this is how I got started doing calligraphy. I just used a normal pen. I just took a gel pen out of my backpack and I just got started. And I honestly found I found a alphabet on Pinterest that I really liked. I liked the style of it and I just started imitating it. Eventually I found my own style. I highly suggest trying to find your own style so that you're not, copying anything or trying to imitate, because that is plagiarism and stealing. But this is literally everything that I did when I got started. Now I do use brush pens, and I will show you a few things later using brush pens in case if you want to buy some on Amazon or at the store. But for now, we're just focusing on this. Okay, so we've learned how to do an L. Now I'm going to move on. We're going to go through the alphabet. I'm going to kind of group some of the letters that use a similar stroke. But I'm going to move on to do an H, okay? So now with an H, it's not just one loop. I go up, I go down. Now my pen comes back up to make the hump, and there's my H, okay? Now you can really do this any style you want. If when you were in second grade you've learned a certain style of, how to write an H, stick with that and you can still shade. Or if you want to make it a little bit different, kind of make it more whimsical, that really just comes with time to figure out your style. So now for the H, I'm going to shade every part that my pen came down, okay? So I'm going to do the arrows again. So my pen went up when I did the first part of the loop. It went down when I did this part, okay? So again, I'm going to shade. So I made my little outline. If you guys are using a normal pen right now and you're having a hard time filling everything in pretty quickly, I would suggest grabbing a marker. It can be any color, just because it's a little bit easier, but a pen totally works. So now my pen came back up to make the little hump, but then it came back down to form the rest of the H. So there I am, shading. So it's a little confusing with all the little arrows, but I think you can follow along. So I'm going to do a few more of those just to give you some time at home to practice that. And we'll just keep moving, okay? And I'll try to vary the style so you can see kind of a lot of ways you can write an H. Sometimes I do a really big loop and a really big bottom part. You can do just kind of the normal, what you learned in second grade or whenever you learned cursive. So now, again, I'm just going to shade on all of the downstrokes, which there's just 2. So really, once you understand this principle of the downstroke versus upstroke, you really can start applying this to any of your cursive. And one thing I tell people is, a lot of people ask, how did you learn this? Or how do I learn? How do you do this? It's so beautiful. And I tell people anyone can learn. Really, anyone can learn this. It's all about the style of your cursive, I would say. And that's what kind of sets every artist apart. Many hand lettering people, many artists know how to do this, but you'll notice that their style looks different because they have a different way of writing things. Sometimes people connect all of their letters. Sometimes people don't connect some of the letters if they write a whole word. It really just depends. One thing I do want to point out is at the end of this, I am going to show you how to write the word hello. That will be kind of our finishing product so that then you can make a card and send it to a friend or family as you're stuck at home in quarantine. And, you can maybe pen pal back and forth. So I thought that was a pretty practical way of just kind of tying this all together. We will end up making a card at the end and you can just use whatever paper you have at home.